Hey everyone, Dr. Whitney Costers here. Let's talk quickly today about one of Guy de Maupassant's most famous short stories, The Necklace. You guys probably know this story. A lower middle-class woman's husband manages to get them tickets to a fancy ball. The wife has nothing to wear, nor does she have the means to purchase anything suitable. So, upon her husband's suggestion, she borrows a beautiful diamond necklace from her wealthy friend. She attends the ball with the necklace on, has a fantastic time, feels like and is told she is the most beautiful woman in the world, and is treated as such, and then it's time for her carriage to change back into a pumpkin and for her to return to reality. But our main character realizes that she no longer has on that fancy necklace by the time she gets home. Of course, she and her husband panic, and then they lie to the friend about needing to fix the necklace before returning it in order to buy time so that they may take out loans, borrow money, and basically mortgage out their entire existence. If Matilda thought she lived shabbily before, she certainly lives shabbily now. They give up pretty much everything and start working hard labor in order to pay off the 36,000 francs that the replacement necklace cost. By the end, Matilda is old and haggard, only to find out after running into this same wealthy friend that the necklace was fake and not worth more than 500 francs. For this video then, let's just talk about who is to blame for this massive debacle. I've taught this story countless times, and 95% of my students always blame Matilda. They say she is bratty, spoiled, ungrateful, and selfish. She wants too much. She needs to live within her means. She should be grateful for what her husband gives her. She should just go out and get a job and pay for the stuff she wants. In contrast, there's a lot of sympathy given to the husband because, as my students say, he's so nice. He tries to make Matilda happy by offering this invitation and giving her some money to buy a dress. And many people further argue that Matilda gets her due comeuppance, that Maupassant is essentially having fun at her expense. But I want to challenge these common conclusions and argue that maybe the necklace is not ridiculing Matilda, but actually calling out the treatment of women in a patriarchal society. In fact, let's look at the very first paragraph of the story. We're told she was one of those pretty and charming girls, born as though fate had blundered over her into a family of artisans. She had no marriage portion, no expectations, no means of getting known, understood, loved, and wedded by a man of wealth and distinction. And she let herself be married off to a little clerk in the Ministry of Education. Her tastes were simple because she had never been able to afford any other, but she was as unhappy as though she had married beneath her, for women have no caste or class. Their beauty, grace, and charm serving them for birth or family, their natural delicacy, their instinctive elegance, their nimbleness of wit are their only mark of rank, and put the slum girl on a level with the highest lady in the land. She suffered endlessly, feeling herself born for every delicacy and luxury. She suffered from the poorness of her house, from its mean walls, worn chairs, and ugly curtains. All these things of which other women of her class would not even have been aware tormented and insulted her. Now, I think there's a very important reason Maupassant starts out the story with this information. Notice that he doesn't introduce Matilda as Matilda Loisel. He introduces her as she. And I think this suggests that what he's about to say about Matilda is applicable to all women, that this is not a unique or singular case. Further, look at how women earn a social position and reputation and any real significance in society. It's through their looks, their elegance and natural delicacies, whereas men have power and rank based on their family name and work. So women are treated frivolously. Society has taught them that they will earn an important place in the world through their presentation of beauty and their performance of charm and grace. And in addition to all of this, the narrator tells us that Matilda has the beauty and charm, but that someone in the heavens made a clerical error when she was born and put her in a class in which she cannot use these traits to earn a better position in life. So in other words, she's given the natural desires and abilities of a higher class than she's put in. So I don't know that Maupassant is asking us to read Matilda's dissatisfaction as a marker of bratty, selfish, and spoiled behavior. I think he's actually calling out how terrible and superficial of a position women are forced to occupy in 19th century France. I think then that this is why it's so meaningful for Matilda to look as though she belongs at such a party. And I also think it's a universal desire to want to fit in. I know many people, many people who aren't spoiled or superficial, who have the desire to dress up and look as though they belong at some fancy or nice event. And I also know how common and problematic it is nowadays to keep up with the Joneses or have the latest and greatest gadget, shoes, or car, or whatever it might be. I don't think Matilda and her desires are all that different from many of us. Thankfully for us, though, and especially for women, we have more freedom, rights, and opportunities to make something of ourselves and not be wholly dependent on superficial expectations like beauty, grace, and elegance. When my students say Matilda should just go out and get a job and buy the things she wants for herself, I remind them that that's an opportunity that was not afforded to women in 19th century patriarchal France, further emphasizing the rather limited position in which women found themselves. I like Matilda because I sympathize with her and all the women who are judged by such superficial means, and also because in the end, Matilda does the right thing. She and her husband replace the necklace and then work industriously, to say the least, to pay off their debts. And ironically, she loses all her beauty and grace by the end. In fact, we're told that her friend doesn't even recognize her because she's so old and haggard looking. Now the husband. He is a nice guy. He really is. It seems like he's got a good heart and tries to do right by his wife. But this doesn't mean he's not blameless for the problems that ensue in this story. Think about the major part he plays in the disaster that happens. Who presents the invitation? He does. Who gives in and offers Matilda 400 francs so that she may buy a new dress? He does. And if you want to call Matilda spoiled and bratty, then you can also say that Mr. Loisel is an enabler and that he gives her whatever she wants, whatever she complains about. Who suggests Matilda borrow an expensive piece of jewelry? He does. Who is responsible for the family's finances and knows good and well that they cannot afford to replace this necklace if something happens to it? He is. Who sleeps for 4 hours at the ball and is thus not paying attention to his wife and the necklace she's wearing while she's madly and ecstatically dancing? He does. Who tells Matilda to lie to her friend that the necklace's clasp is broken so that they can buy a new one? He does. Who mortgages their existence in order to pay for a replacement necklace? He does. No matter what you think about Matilda, this guy is not innocent. And sure, you can say, well, Matilda should just make her own decision not to lie to her friend and come clean. But we also must keep in mind, yet again, the social position that women inhabit at this time. Matilda lives in a patriarchal society, one in which a woman is always to obey her husband. And then there's the friend, Madame Forestier. We're told that when Matilda goes to her home, that she suddenly discovered in a black satin case a superb diamond necklace. Her heart began to beat covetously. Her hands trembled as she lifted it. She fastened it round her neck upon her high dress and remained in ecstasy at the sight of herself. Then, with hesitation, she asked in anguish, "Could you lend me this, just this alone?" "Yes, of course." Matilda flung herself on her friend's breast, embraced her frenziedly, and went away with her treasure. Now, if your friend came to you telling you the circumstances of the situation, namely that she needs very nice stuff to wear to this ball and she really wants to look like she belongs to it, and her hands are like literally trembling as she picks up your fake necklace, and she looks at herself with ecstasy in your mirror, then asks you with hesitation if she may borrow it, and then literally flings her body frenziedly onto yours when you say yes, it's sort of at that point that you need to come clean and say, I bought this at Amazon. Like, you don't need to get all excited about it. Clearly, Madame Forestier is keeping up appearances. She even expresses annoyance when Matilda returns the necklace, saying you should have returned it sooner, kind of implying that the necklace is of great value. But I don't think that we should blame Madame Forestier either. She is a woman who's held to the same superficial standards that Matilda is. I think it is ironic, though, that Matilda never recognizes that she is getting a fake necklace, and Madame Forestier never recognizes that she receives a real necklace in return. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying Matilda is blameless in this situation by any means. She certainly should have kept a better eye on the necklace while she was at the party. However, I don't think she deserves the amount of blame that so many readers place on her, or the disdain and judgment to which she is often subjected. Ultimately, maybe the real culprit in all of this is society for the way it dictates how women should be measured. What do you guys think? Do you think readers need to reevaluate how they perceive Matilda and interpret her behavior? Is there anything in Matilda that you can identify with as a person living in the 21st century? And do you think Maupassant is writing a feminist story with a moral or a point about how women are treated in society? Or do you think this is a story written purely for its shock value and its perverse comedic value? Let me know your ideas and thoughts in the comment box below. And please check out my other videos in which I discuss more canonical literary works. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope to see you guys next time.